Welcome back to Investing with Confidence. I am your host, Joshua David. As always, we are talking about the stock markets, the options market, futures and Forex, different opportunities, ETFs, what they are, what the comparisons are with some different futures contracts, which we'll talk about next year. But if you miss getting into this workshop that we're doing right here in Bloomington, using our proprietary platform called Click, it's on Wednesday the 13th and Saturday the 16th. Call 952-814-4410. Or you can also text the word INVEST to the number 484848. You're going to get a call, but if you get ahead of us, pick the link and pick a date for this class, this workshop, and then we will make sure we get you that financial quick start kit to help you get started right away. So, Al, as you were talking about in the last segment about different comparisons with options, with stocks, and also using ETFs, which are exchange-traded funds, which is basically a basket, right?
Correct.
Let's continue that discussion about some different comparisons on ETFs, because I think that's such a great opportunity for investors to use, because it's a basket of like the S&P 500 or the Dow or energy or even oil, stuff like that. So let's talk about the SPY. You were talking about that earlier. We talked about some different areas that it could bounce from. There's potential buyers and sellers at a few different areas there. But we have the futures market, which is basically buying and selling contracts within the financial markets. In the stock market, you're buying and selling shares, right?
Yep.
Now, the futures market also allows investors to utilize leverage, which means you can use a smaller amount of capital to control a much larger asset, right? So we talked about the SPY, which is the S&P 500 ETF. It's basically the same thing as a stock. It's traded in the stock market, bought in shares like the stocks are. Now, in the futures market, you have the S&P 500 futures contract, which is the ES. That's what it's called in the futures market. And basically that mimics, or that's the same thing essentially as the SPY.
Correct.
The only thing is different is you don't really see any gaps like you do with the SPY, because this is actually open 24 hours a day. So when you see a gap from the S&P 500 from one day to another in the futures market, that's actually going to be showing a candle there because it's actually open, and that's kind of dictating where the stock market is going to open the next day.
Right.
So for instance, this ES, the futures contract, roughly right around 4,400-ish area. And these zones typically will line up kind of together. It gives more odds to average investors, right? So if you have an investor using ETFs, maybe the SPY and the futures market, the ES, they can kind of use those together to increase their odds, because what is trading and investing? It's about putting the odds in your favor.
Correct.
And putting low risk, high probability entry points into the market. So the S&P 500 has this comparison as well. Now you think of oil. I mean, oil has been a crazy, crazy market over the last, for a while now. It's been skyrocketing ever since it went negative in 2020.
Correct. What a huge move from there, because it's up. Barrel of oil now is around 78, 77, somewhere in that
range. It almost got to $80 per barrel, which is a lot compared to where it was at.
Sure. In natural gas, we have a 13-year high in natural gas.
Yeah, these commodities are huge. Inflation has been rising, so that's why it's important for investors to utilize these other markets. So what is the ETF for oil? It'd be the USO, right?
USO, right. There is an ETF for oil. There's the futures for oil. And you mentioned the SPY and the futures, the ES. If somebody wanted to participate in that part of the market, the S&P 500, using futures would allow them to actually participate with the lower upfront cost,
a fraction
of the cost. The same thing with all of the other futures, the components of that family, the futures family, all have that leverage, and it could be anywhere from maybe 20-to-1 to 100-to-1 leverage. But it also allows you to have a truly diversified portfolio.
There you go.
Because things like corn, for example, in the S&P 500, there's no correlation there. So you can have a portfolio put together that either is negatively correlated, positively correlated, or no correlation at all, just using the futures market, which is a huge advantage. And the one of the reasons that Wall Street does so much better than the individual investor, than the public, is because they use these leveraged assets. They use futures, and they're using these pretty much on a daily basis. And most people are just not familiar with them because no one's teaching them how to use these or really what they are, what the benefits are.
Yeah, and that's really why Online Trading Academy exists too. The sponsor of Investing with Confidence is they teach people what these are. What is the futures market? How do you utilize leverage in the markets? Everybody uses it in their everyday life.
Sure.
Credit cards, buying a home, pretty much everything.
Mortgage,
right?
Mm-hmm.
So using these opportunities could allow investors to get into the market and be able to participate.
Right. And with futures, by the way, you are guessing whether something is going to be worth more or less in the future. So you can participate in a downward moving market with futures also. Where with stock, you're pretty much one way, and that's the upside move. Stock has to go up in value for you to benefit.
Yeah, and a lot of our listeners are visual learners, Alan. We've been talking about a workshop that we're doing. It's actually the first time ever we're doing this type of workshop to get some hands on our proprietary platform. It's called Click, and start using and see what this futures market is all about. See what the leverage looks like. See the comparisons between the stock market and the futures market, and really how to be properly diversified. You talk about all that stuff in these investing classes. So call 952-814-4410. We have one Wednesday the 13th or Saturday the 16th. They're 2 hours. They're both in the morning, so pretty much anybody can attend these. Or you can text the word INVEST to the number 484848. We're going to call you right when you do that, but you also have a link to pick a date for this workshop. Now, I just want to get your opinion here, Al. Oil has been really going up here for quite some time.
Right.
And really since the bottom of 2020, which was in April. Okay. Mm-hmm. What do you see happening with oil moving forward? Do you see this continue to go up, or do you see this going, having some areas where it could push it back down?
I think we're going to see continuation of kind of surging energy costs. And one of the problems, you think about it, everybody listening can probably reach their arm out, and whatever their arm touches has oil or petroleum as part of they're getting to where they are touching it, whether it's in the production or the delivery of it. And one of the problems with these energy prices being so high is that we're actually entering, and according to Bank of America, we're already in a period of stagflation, which is basically where you have a period of low growth and rising prices. Oil impacts almost everything. So that's causing a kind of a trickle down or trickle up increase in prices of almost everything. When that happens, then with inflation growing up, which are increasing, which is being caused by that, and we have kind of a slowing of the economy, not just here, but globally. So those combined give you that area of stagflation, which is probably the worst case scenario for investors, which makes it even more important to learn how to take advantage of different market moves, not just relying on something going up in value for you to benefit.
You just kind of made me think about something. You're talking about potentially if energy continues to go up. Energy is being used everywhere, right? There's an ETF for energy.
Yes.
It's XLE. And that's roughly around the $55 per share level right now. So there's an opportunity if people think, okay, if energy is going to continue to rise, there might be an opportunity for investors to buy energy in the stock market, which is XLE.
Right.
And if that continues to go up, there's a profit there as prices go up.
Absolutely.
So that could be potentially a hedge for people that are using a lot of energy, consuming a lot of energy. Think of oil too. If people think oil is going to continue to go up, I'll just pull the chart up here of oil for our YouTube listeners. And I've been talking a lot about oil over the past. We've been talking about for 6 months here now.
Sure.
Just what's been happening with it, and we just passed that area of that last high from 2018. Okay, so but there's a potential sell area that potential sellers coming into the market right around the $90 mark. So who knows if that area is going to stop it? But if it doesn't, this market could continue to go up.
Right.
But we don't know. But if you have low risk entry points in these markets, we call them zones. You can do that with a heck of a lot more concept. And you talk about a lot of this stuff in these workshops that you teach here on Bloomington Wednesdays and Saturdays. And these workshops are actually hands-on. You're going to be able to use our proprietary platform, Click, and talk a little bit about oil. If you have some questions, hey, what does oil look like on a chart? Let's pull it up and talk about some of that stuff in this workshop. So call 814-4410 to come into this workshop. We have 2 dates here, Wednesday the 13th, Saturday the 16th. They're 2 hours. Al teaches these, and these are classes. We've really taught thousands our proprietary strategy, what that is to make better and smarter investing decisions, but having a platform guides you through that. You can actually see what that looks like and get some hands-on experience with that. 952-814-4410 or text the word invest to the number 484848. When you do that, we're going to text you back with a link. Pick a date, but you're also going to get a call from one of our team members, and make sure we get that date for you on the 13th or the 16th. Now, coming up next, we've talked about ETFs, options, futures. I want to talk about the largest market in the world, which is Forex, the currency market. Right. Coming up next, Forex and different opportunities. 952-814-4410. This is Josh and Al, Investing with Confidence. We'll be right back.